Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Magic in Media, the podcast brought to you by the Vibe Collective and me, Carly D., a reader and manager here at the Vibe Collective. This podcast blends magic with the current pop culture news and moments to show you that magic is all around us every day. We just have to look around and find it. So we find the metaphysical and magic in the world all around us and share it with you. So welcome to Magic in Media. Today is our New Year's Eve episode. So we are recording this podcast on the 29th. So we only have 2 full more days left in 2025. Now, in this podcast, and I really have to say, in a lot of my readings this year, the focus of 2025 being a 9-year or the year of the snake in Chinese astrology has been so prevalent. So I just have to start with that, right? The fact that we are in a 9-year in 2025, and 9 years represent release, shedding, letting things go, letting go of habits that don't serve us anymore, and really outgrowing the old ways we were, right? And maybe just certain behaviors or maybe certain habits like served us for a spell of time. But now in this 9-year, we've really seen we've outgrown them and it's time for change, or maybe certain relationships, job, career, home. Maybe you're moving, looking for a new place to live. But overall, 9 years are a lot of loss and a lot of letting things go to prepare us for 2026, which will be a 1 year, a year of fresh starts, new beginnings, and forward moving momentum. So that has been, like I said, very prevalent, very much on my mind really all year, more so than in prior years. I've just really noticed as a collective that a lot of us did get that 9-year energy going, right? Of kind of losing certain things and having to grow and change and expand as we go into this 1 year. So this week, we are going to talk about New Year's Eve, the spiritual significance of it, the magic that lives in New Year's Eve. And of course, there is a lot of it. There's a lot of magic around New Year's Eve. And we are going to talk about some simple New Year's rituals, things you can do on New Year's Eve or the days around it this week to really connect to that kind of fresh start energy, that new year energy in a way that works for you. So as we're going through these rituals, these kind of simple things that we can do this week to tap into New Year's Eve, I want you to really focus on what speaks to you and what jumps out to you when you first start hearing it, right? And using that kind of intuition to guide you on what rituals to do, because we're going to go through a lot of rituals and a lot of like little things you can do. And I don't think we need to do all of them to ensure like a good 2026. I think it's very important that you listen to your own intuition and see what you need, what your spirit needs, and what your soul needs as we go into this new year. So we're going to start actually with our what you can do this week kind of section of our podcast, which is when we highlight something you can do this week to bring magic into your life. And that is these simple New Year's rituals. Now, lots of these we've probably heard of before. Maybe you've done them even in your own kind of like way before, or you have family traditions or things like that. But we are going to go through all of these. And like I said, pay attention to really what jumps out at you first, because that is the ritual I feel you should focus on and put your energy into. So number 1, we have clean and reset a certain area to change the energy as we go into the new year. So if there's a certain thing you are trying to bring into your life as we go into 2026, I want you to think if there's an area in your house that holds that energy. So let's say your office, right? I'm in my home office. Let's start there. You want to bring in more flow of your work, more prosperity, more abundance. Clean your office. Wipe everything down. If you can burn incense or you like to burn anything to kind of like cleanse the air like sage, or you have room sprays or anything like that, clean that room really well. Set like energy intention sprays or do a cleansing of that room and spend time in it asking for what you want. So when I would sage my house, I would even go through each room and say out loud what I would want to bring more in once we cleanse out that room. So think, if you're going into your office, I want to cleanse any fogginess, lack of clarity, lack of motivation, and bring in forward movement and clear ideas and collaboration, and really call out, name and claim what you want to bring in. But with this ritual, we're focusing on one kind of space. And I even want to make this as simple as, let's say when you're going to bed at night, you want to get away from scrolling, right? From being on your phone. I think that's a big kind of resolution thing we're going to see this year is people wanting to put their phones away. Or if you've heard of people who are bricking their phones, it's literally a physical brick that stops your phone from letting you go on social media and stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of that being a big resolution this year. But if you want to just do this yourself, maybe clean your nightstand off, right? And clean it really well and put some crystals that support good sleep there, or a book or something that you can focus on besides scrolling and keeping that out of your bedroom. Replacing that energy on your nightstand with maybe where you would keep your phone or, things from the day. Like if you have your wallet or your purse on your nightstand or something, move that stuff off and make your nightstand an intentional place of rest and peace and calming you down at the end of the night. So with our first one of clean and reset that area, just really spend some time thinking, where is an area or a room in my house I can cleanse and change up the energy? And I say one area because we don't have to do the entire house, right? If you can, more power to you. That's awesome. It's actually really good to clean before the new year energetically and clean your whole house. But if you only have a little bit of time, focus that energy on where you really want the intention and energy to flow, which would be this one little space. And like we said, as you're cleaning it, call out or call in what you want to bring into that space. So more peace, more calm, maybe more fun. If there's an area in your house where your living room and you want to have more parties and more people over this year, name it and claim it, clean that room, set it up really nice like you would to have people over, even if it's just yourself on New Year's Eve. And we will talk about how what you're doing on New Year's Eve, influences what you're doing the rest of the year and how all of that connects. But that is our first one, right? Clear out a space, one space in particular, and really focus your energy on that. And I say a space in your house too, because this is a space that you're going to see every day, right? So putting that intention into it in the beginning of the year, as you go through the year, you will see that room, that space every day, and it will really help you remember. And that is a lot of what this spiritual work is, right? Crystals and tarot can kind of help us reflect, help us to see more. But a lot of why I even wear crystal jewelry is that talisman, that reminder of what we're trying to bring in by wearing it, right? So let this space in your house be that for you for the year. Now, there is the ideology that you should focus on what you want to work on or bring in the following year, right? There is also, we'll get into that one later. I won't jump ahead, but I want to go through these few rituals here of things you can do on the new year to bring in different energy. So one is wear white for a fresh start, right? If you're looking for a fresh start, which we all kind of are, but you really, for you, want that to be the focus of your year, wear white, right? And bring in this energy of newness. Now, we have a big tradition of drinking champagne on New Year's Eve. If you're drinking champagne, that can help to bring in celebrations and parties into your life as we go into 2026. And if you have a lot of big celebrations coming up in 2026, I would say that even helps support the energy behind that, right? Drinking champagne on New Year's Eve. There's the classic walk your suitcase around the block. If you want to travel more, I would even just say take your suitcase out and put it somewhere where you can see it, right? That's the intention and kind of magic behind that. We have another kind of classic tradition for New Year's, which is to wear red underwear to bring love into your life. Again, these are things that are focusing on something very specific, and these are specific rituals you can do to bring those things like travel, love, parties, and celebrations. So, very simple, like we said, right? But traditional things we can do to focus on that particular thing we want to bring in the new year. Another one, put coins on your windowsill or make sure there's cash in your wallet. I would say if you can even get $100 bill and put it in your wallet starting New Year's Eve, do that and call in that energy of, I want to have this energy all year, right? Of a full wallet. Lots of traditions around the food that we eat on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, bringing in certain energy, right? So a few, and there are more than this, but we're just going to go through a few of them. Eating greens promotes growth and renewal. Black-eyed peas are very traditionally eaten for prosperity. So if you look up New Year's food rituals, you will definitely see black-eyed peas on there. Fish is abundance. And round foods that look like coins for prosperity as well. So think like little cakes, or other little like round foods like grapes, very traditionally eaten as well. So yes, round foods, very good for prosperity. Also having noise, music, and cheering to keep away bad energy or bad spirits is another kind of, ritual tradition that you can do. So I love that too, of everyone does cheer, when we are in that in-between space of New Year's and New Year's Day. And we will talk about the liminal space, that sits in between there. But these things that we just listed are basically things you're doing already, right? Getting ready for your party, what food you're buying to celebrate the new year, listening to music, cheering, all of that. Very simple things that we can bring into the new year and just with a little more intention. And when I say intention, it's just that thought, right? As you're playing certain music. For the music one too, I would say play music that has an energy, a very positive energy. I play a lot of Ariana Grande music to bring in certain energy too. She has a song called Just Like Magic that I almost always listen to on my way to tarot readings and events. Listen to the song and you'll see why. But if there is a certain song that has an energy that you want to bring into the new year, play that song, right? Bring that kind of frequency around you that you want to continue to build on as we're in 2026. So the standard rituals we do around New Year's all produce that idea of focusing on the specific thing we want to call in. So do some self-reflection to get there, right? So to find what we can focus on, let's talk a little bit about self-reflection, right? And that is going inward, spending time with yourself and really getting real with yourself about what's happening, where have we been, where are we going into the new year, and really doing a self-audit almost of the year of 2025. I think it's very important to kind of do that every year if you're not already. And a few ways that you can do self-reflection this week is, of course, journaling, right? Just sit down with like an open mind and open heart, start writing and see what comes out, right? Let it flow and let it be really natural. And you could just use the prompt of like, what has happened this year, right? Start there and just start journaling. Another self-reflection, really simple thing you can do, scroll through your photos on your phone from the year 2025 and really we're reflecting, right? Looking in those pictures of what have I been doing? What have I accomplished? What do I still want to accomplish? But we have to take that time to really sit and reflect. I feel like to go and focus on what we want and what we want to build. And now, of course, my favorite form of self-reflection for New Year's is a reading, a tarot card reading. I always do a reading for myself and lots of those around me on the new year. I think that it is a great time of year to get a reading because we are all in this collective energy of a fresh start, a new beginning, and really kind of getting our minds ready for that energy of starting something new. The same way that I really like getting readings or telling people I promote getting readings on your birthday, right? Which is really like your personal new year and is another good time to self-reflect and really think about what we've been doing and where we have been. So we will be offering tarot readings all week through the Vibe Collective. So you can book through our website, www.thevibecollective.co, or you can look through the link in our bio on any of our socials, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're watching or listening to us. You can find the link through our bio to book a reading with us through the Vibe Collective. But a couple ways that you can do New Year's readings is to pull 12 cards. So a card for each month, or if you're an astrology person, a card for each house and what energy is going to be in that house. So 12 card tarot card readings are a big reflection for me on New Year's. I know lots of other tarot readers, but if you are kind of looking for, maybe this year has been so crazy that even doing your own self-reflection kind of leaves you like uncertain or wanting more, that is when a reading can be really good to kind of have that third person, that like different kind of like energy relaying messages to you and telling you like what's going on and like what's happening in certain situations around your life. So highly recommend, of course, getting a New Year's tarot reading, and we will have readers available all week for that. So definitely look into that if you are wanting to do a tarot reading. But basically what that energy does, when you're getting a reading this time of year, is it taps into the energy of what you need to focus on as we go into the new year, which is a lot of what I think tarot readings help with too. They really help bring to the forefront of your mind things that are important or that we should be paying attention to, especially if it's something that we're not actively watching or paying attention to right now. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Chinese New Year. So now, as we are wrapping up 2025, you've been seeing and hearing a lot about the year of the snake, which is all like we have been saying, shedding, releasing, letting things go. And that's what we've all been experiencing in 2025. Now, 2026 is the year of the horse, which is a lot of forward momentum, movement, progression, things moving forward, and lots of newness. Like, I just think of lots of like Aries, like fiery forward energy. But what I want to kind of talk about and focus on with the Chinese New Year is that the Chinese New Year actually does not start until February 17th and goes until about March 3rd. So this horse energy that we hear everyone talking about right now, we really will not feel that until the Chinese New Year comes. So March is pretty much when we are going to fully lean into that horse energy, that year of the horse energy. So don't be surprised if the first couple months of 2026, like January and February, you're still shaking off the dust of 2025. We might not feel that horse, that forward energy until we get to March. And I really wanted to emphasize that on the podcast today, because there is a lot of a big reason of why I wanted to do this podcast specifically is we see lots of information floating around us in media and stuff during these big celebrations and these big holidays of the year. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff about the year of the horse, which is amazing. We're also excited for the year of the horse. But this was even a good reminder for me that we will not really feel that year of the horse energy until March. So keep working on progressing now, on setting the stage or setting a good foundation for what we really want to build in 2026, and know that it will be a slow to start. It'll be a slow burn in January and February of probably still some shedding and releasing before we're fully into that horse energy in March. So that is definitely something to keep on your mind as we move through the first couple months of 2026, that you're giving yourself that time for us to get to the Chinese New Year. And I just want to focus on that too, of course, the Chinese New Year is different than our New Year, which is why we don't see it until February or March. So if that is something that speaks to you more, the Chinese New Year, we will be talking about that more on this podcast as well. But it definitely is different than just the New Year's that we're talking about on the 31st, coming up in 2 days. So stay tuned for more Year of the Horse information as we get closer to February and March. But yeah, we have a lot to look forward to, but be ready to ease into that horse energy as we enter 2026. Now, another part of this podcast is current events, really, and like events that are happening around us and where we're seeing like the magic in them, right? So something I wanted to touch on that is very, I would say, significant because we haven't really seen it before. So yeah, let's just get into it. The ball is going to be dropping twice on New Year's this Wednesday, and we're going to talk about why. So first, the ball will drop on midnight on New Year's Eve, as it always does. We're talking about the Times Square ball dropping. If you're in the US, in New York City, you know what I'm talking about. But it is dropping the second time this New Year's Eve in honor of the nation's upcoming 250th anniversary of when the Declaration of Independence was signed. So the Times Square Alliance, and this is a group, it's a nonpartisan group that organized this annual ball drop. Let me bring it back. Sorry. The Times Square Alliance is a group that organizes the annual ball drop. They have been working with America 250, which is a nonpartisan body established by Congress in 2016 for the upcoming anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, this 250th year. So they are including a second ball drop at 12:04. And unlike the first ball drop, this one will feature a red, white, and blue design. This is a quote from the America 250 chair. She said in a press release, "Our goal is to inspire all 350 million Americans to join in this moment to celebrate our country." The Times Square Alliance president said, "Every year in Times Square on New Year's Eve, we unite the crowds cheering in the streets with millions of people around the country and the world to celebrate one of the most iconic moments together as one. It's perfect that this moment will be in partnership with America 250 and the very first moment of a year's worth of moments to celebrate our country's 250 great years. The decorated ball that drops will be red, white, and blue, like we said, and this will mark the first time in history that a ball drops twice, and it marks another time in history. The ball will also drop on July 3rd, 2026, the eve of the nation's birthday, which will be the first time in history that the ball has dropped outside of New Year's Eve. So I just thought this was interesting because it is a lot of the first time, right? Like the first time we're going to drop the ball outside of New Year's Eve, the first time we're going to have the ball drop twice. There's a lot of significance in two. We've talked about angel numbers before, but twos are really like an information confirmation, right? But it also is that we are where we're supposed to be and to be ready kind of for change and growth to come and to trust, right? I'm going to trust in my heart that this energy that we're bringing into by having not only like the start of a new year, but a new era for our country is very interesting. But I would ask that everyone kind of keep that in mind as we go into this new year, that there's this kind of energy as well of a fresh start as our country of America, right? And some reflecting, I'm sure, as Americans that we've all done this year and will continue to do. But think about two, right? And what that means to you, the significance of things happening twice, or 222. That's what really came up for me when I started to read this article. But it really is, it's very interesting in that it's the first time we've done anything like this. But I just felt like I had to mention it and the significance of two, but a fresh start in lots of different ways, right? And I do think we'll go into more astrology for 2026 as we get closer to the new year, but I think this is going to be a very new time in our country as well. So it is very significant that we are having this kind of fresh start as well for 250 years for America. And we're already, getting into that and celebrating that on New Year's Eve. So the ball will be dropping twice this year. Very interesting. Look into 222, like I said, or what that really means for you. Now, we are going to talk about one of the most traditional rituals. If you've been paying attention, we have not mentioned it yet, of what you can do on New Year's. But I want to talk about it, one, because it's so popular, and two, because there's an element of it happening in what we call the liminal space. Let me get a drink of water. Now, we've talked before about the liminal space, or the space in between, a lot around Halloween. And we say, the veil is thin around Halloween, that space in between the living and the dead. Well, the space in between midnight and the start of the new year is a liminal space as well. So the tradition we're talking about to wrap up our episode this week is the kiss at midnight. We are going to talk about why we do it, where it comes from, and kind of how it connects to this liminal space and the spiritualness of this tradition. So that, like we said, the liminal space, or the space between on midnight, is a similar energy to the veil being thin. It's a space between two things. So one, there is the idea of what we do first in the new year, we carry into the new year, or we invite to stay. So the kiss at midnight, of course, stands for love first. That's bringing more love into your year, more harmony as well, and togetherness. So I do want to focus on that too, not just love, but harmony and togetherness, which is very good. We all need that, right? So it's a great way to start the year. Now, love is also seen as protection. So this being a time where you're in the liminal space, the kiss would be like a kiss of protection, stability, and kind of just looking out for you in the air of love. So this is a space where you can also add in your own ritual or wish that is very specific to you, this liminal space in between those moments, right? Where most of us are having that kiss at midnight, but we're going to talk about too, if you're single, things that you can do in place of this very popular New Year's tradition. But in that liminal space, focus on your wish or your intention. So now, if you're single, other things that you can do to kind of focus this energy back to you, and I love this, is to kiss your own hand, set an intention, set your wish, and kiss your own hand, right? Show love to yourself, show acceptance to yourself. I always say our most important relationship is our relationship with ourselves. So if you don't have someone else to kiss on New Year's Eve, kiss your hand and show that love to yourself. Another Celtic tradition, these are both Celtic traditions, these two I have here. One is to say your wish into a mirror, or say Happy New Year into a mirror to yourself, and really have that visual and like looking into that relationship with self by looking into a mirror. And in Celtic tradition, single people would stand facing east at midnight to draw in love. So if that is something that you want, as a single person, maybe try standing east this New Year's Eve. But I love this idea of putting your wish in liminal space, right? This space in between, which is where we feel a lot of magic happens. Even think the space between like sleep and wake is when a lot of people maybe hear spirits or hear ghosts, or we get certain messages. Lots of magical things happen in the liminal space. So that little space we are saying, right, where we're having that kiss at midnight between one year to the next, say your wish, say your intention. Even if you are, giving a little peck to a loved one during that moment, even just take that second after then for yourself to call out your biggest wish or intention for the new year and put it in the liminal space, right? Put it in those moments before we get into that new year. And I just loved that idea, like I said, of self-love and showing that love to yourself if you aren't kissing someone else on New Year's Eve. Because if you're not kissing someone who you really like are feeling and love and want to bring that energy with and bring that intention in with, then probably the best person to kiss is yourself, right? So focus on that relationship with self, focus on showing yourself that love. And if you can, say it in a mirror or say Happy New Year in a mirror, you can do that as well, just to kind of amplify that intention or that wish. Mirrors are really good for that. And it kind of is, you're saying it and it's coming back to you when you have a mirror. So be very sure to put your wish out on midnight on New Year's Eve as well. But yeah, that was our last ritual that we did not talk about at the beginning, was the kiss at midnight. But I do feel it is one of the most traditionally known things that we do on New Year's. So I couldn't let the episode pass without mentioning it. But I do really love giving you guys options too, if you are a single person, for how to take that very popular ritual and make it more special for yourself. So I hope that this week's episode gave you some ideas of what you can do for New Year's. I will also say, disclaimer, I tried to pick some different things than just, write down the things that you want to let go of and write down the goals that you have. Those are great rituals and things that you can do. But I figure that we're all going to be hearing a lot of that, or the kind of traditional things that we already do going into the new year. So I wanted to bring in a couple different things, like that we could do to tap into that energy. So if you are someone who likes to write down everything you're releasing and burn it, I've done that many, many New Year's Eves, and that is a really good one too. If you want to write down what you want to bring in, I recommend holding on to that or making a video of yourself talking about wishes or goals that you have for this year. So that way you can revisit it at this time next year and see what you've done, right? But I hope that this week's episode gave you some new rituals, some new ideas, some invigoration when it comes to New Year's. And I am so excited to embark on a new year with all of you here at the Vibe Collective and with Magic and Media. So thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week to talk about more magical things. And as always, find the magic in your own life. See you next time, Vibe.